Okay, so a very good morning for ones who are watching now and ones who are going to watch later. So, a very good morning. And first of all, I should say the reason for me to take it as a morning session is not because I wanted to, but because this is the time most of you are free. Like, usually on Sundays, you don't have early morning classes. That's why I made it at 6 a.m. Yeah. So now you have exactly around 1.5 months, but still you can't count the date. I mean, like if your exams are tomorrow, you're not going to study till today, right? No. You need to have a good gap in between. So that is why I'm going to give you an exact plan on what you need to do in this final month for your exams. So I'm going to talk to you about what we have to do, which means the study techniques, how you're going to study, and what content you need to focus more on, what time you need to study, and what kind of environment you need to study. So now, because we have just 1 month more, you need to understand this very important principle that is productivity is equal to quantity or quality. Wait, it's quality over quantity, which means when you have more and more quantities to complete, the quality will get deteriorated slowly. That means it will get reduced. So that means when you have cluttered yourself a lot, that means take notes from all over the world. That's what we do now. When we are like we have exams tomorrow, if we haven't complete our notes and things, what we will do is even if having notes, we tend to do this because I also used to do that crazy thing. Like having 2-3 days to exams, I borrow notes from all over the world and then wonder, okay, I have to study all this in just one day. No. So what I'm going to tell you guys is not to study the entire textbook. Okay, don't worry. But I will tell you what exactly you need to do. So take your textbook and 3 years of past papers, which means the latest papers now, because you all are from the 2021 batch, who's doing all of us in the 2022 year. You need the papers of 2018, 2019, and 2020. That means 3 years, right? Only these 3 years of past papers at the moment, then I will tell you what else you need. So we'll first look at what we need to do. Now, when we say start studying, what you tend to do, I mean, not only you, like if we just look at the world, more than 99% of people do this. They just take the textbook and start reading from page one. That is not what you have to do. What you have to do is start up with a paper because you have just 1 month, right? Take a paper, like now you have 9 subjects and you know you have 9 MCQ papers, but you have to keep the literature part aside because the literature don't have MCQs. But still, don't worry, I have already uploaded a video about that. You can check it out. We'll keep that aside. So we'll take the subjects which have MCQs. That means quite the majority. I would say 8, at least 7 subjects will be having an MCQ paper. So these MCQs consist of 40 MCQs per paper, and that paper is for 1 hour. So this 1 hour you can allocate right from the 24 hours, which means you're going to complete one MCQ paper a day. So just imagine you have 9 MCQ papers. Just keep this MCQ word aside and just take paper ones. So you have 9 paper ones, and you will need 1 hour to do that. But there might be some subjects where you need 2 hours, but that's exceptional cases. But if we just take in general, so from the 24 hours, you can invest 1 hour on this. It is possible. Just take the 40 MCQs, do it timed. That is first thing you need to do. Then, then only the important part comes with the textbooks. What you're going to do is for each and every MCQ you attempt, you have to have a rough sheet. If you feel like, okay, you don't have much space on the paper, and if you are someone who is a little bit organized, you can actually use another sketch paper. We're not going to write pretty perfect notes because who's going to look at it after 1 month? You're just going to throw it away. So just we'll make some sketches, but make it readable, please. So, or else if you feel like, okay, you're clumsy and you tend to destroy everything you have and mess it up, if you get anxious and stressed out, do annotate on the paper itself, because no one's going to do it again. I'm quite sure that no one's going to do it again. So you can annotate on your own paper. So this is what you have to look into. Number one is, what is the correct answer? You can of course find it from the marking scheme. Then, why is this answer correct? Next, why are the other answers wrong? Which means three things. And the fourth thing is, what are the other possible areas to be questioned from this particular question keywords or the examples? I mean, the MCQs. I'll give you an example. Now, just imagine that in a so-called subject, there's an MCQ paper, right? And then there's a question saying, what is the capital letter of simple A? Okay, there's a question like that. And there are few multiple choice answers, and the correct answer is obviously, if they've given the simple A, the capital is capital A, right? You know the capital A and you will mark it right. Then next time there's a possibility of them not asking capital A again. That means if they won't give the simple A and ask you the capital A again, but instead they can do the opposite of it. They can give you capital A and ask what is the simple A. I mean, what is the simple letter of it, which means the simple A. Or else, the last concept I told you, what are the other possibilities? So there are more letters in the alphabet, right? From A to Z. They've only asked about A, which means there's a lot of questions they can pop up, right? So then you have to look into that area, because this area can repeat again. That is what I said. Now, if you just start from page 1, something which happens is you will just go through a few pages and you get stressed out, because you can't actually complete everything. I mean, you can't memorize everything. It's not possible. You can't do it in 1 month, because they've allocated 2 years for this and you all got more than 2 years. So obviously you need to work for it. And I don't think you can read all the books. Reading is okay, but studying all the books won't be much practical, because you need to do now what I'm telling you, from what I'm suggesting, you get 2 things done. Not only 2, much more. One thing is you practice timing and practice the paper answering method, and also you get used to the style. I mean, the style of writing, and all the things you need to develop for the paper. And also you get your syllabus covered in the method I told you, because otherwise if you just do 100 MCQs, it's useless if you don't do this analysis. So it's okay even if you analyze just one paper per subject before going to the exam. Trust me, your results would be much better, because if you are at a stage of a fail or S, I'm quite sure if you do this analysis, you will at least end up in a C. I'm quite sure about that, because I had regret of not doing that now I do it. Those days I didn't. So I'm asking you to do it, because I don't want you to fall into the same trouble I fell into. Then the next thing is, if you take subjects like science, there are so many diagrams, right? Now, if there's an entire lesson of systems, digestive system, reproductive system, respiration, blah, 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 blah. Now, in this year, in 2020, if they've asked they've given the digestive system and asked questions, they might not ask the digestion question in the same way. Instead, they can give you another diagram. So if you only study the digestive system and go to your exam, you will end up be like, is this even in the book or the syllabus? So that's why I said, when there's a diagram given, don't look at only the diagram, but also related diagrams. So if there's a question from systems, please go through all the diagrams from the systems. Only the diagrams. I'm not telling you to memorize everything, just the diagrams, right? Go through the diagrams and learn to mark. Map marking, same. Because these are key points you can earn marks. That means maps, diagrams, and formulas. Because when it comes to formulas, there's nothing much for you to study. You just need to understand how the formula works, and then the sums will just flow in. That's one thing. Then Another important thing is that many people say, okay, now how do we exactly know what is important? I mean, although we find it from papers, but if we just start it from the textbook, what should we do? So here's what you have to do. You have something called a summary page. Now, I believe in almost all the GCE O-level books, there's a summary page after every chapter. Yeah, if my memory serves me right, yeah. So then you can read this summary page. And I know this summary is actually not even a summary. Sometimes you might feel like, okay, they've missed out many important points. Then what you need to do is go through the main headings and the subheadings. Look at the main heading, then the subheading, and then just see whether you can recall the facts. This is where mind maps make a big place. Like it does a major role there. Because if you look at a mind map, it's more like you not only get the facts in brief, but also get the connection. Because one big mistake with what kids do is that they try to study bits and bits from the book here and there. And when they go and try to answer the paper, they're like, they can't find a relationship because they don't straight away ask sometimes, what exactly it is, but they'll just go around at few lessons into one hidden and ask questions. You might have come across such questions. So in that point, if you only know the fact, it's not enough. So now this is not the time for you to make notes. That's a big, big thing which you need to get out of your head. That means making aesthetic notes and all these notes. Because having 1 month, that is really stupid to do. I should say to the point. But what I would say is wise and intelligent is working with bullet points and mind maps. Because I'm not going to introduce you like billions of, study note writing methods and all that because you don't have the time in the world to try all those out. Okay, just for A levels, at least A levels or whatever you are planning to for your higher studies, you can try those. But for now, what you need to do is bullet points and mind maps. So that means when you read the lessons, I told you you're not going to read the entire thing, right? So I mean, with the questions, you get to see what are the most important areas. So try to map it up, right? And then I should also tell you about the paper tools. Okay. Now, I told you to get 3 years of past papers, right? I told there can be more things coming up. So, yeah, the more things coming up is you taking some papers from the provinces. That means, there are different provinces, they produce different papers, right? There are province-based papers, there are papers from good schools, like good Colombo schools, and also not only Colombo, I mean, from all over the country, there are good schools which produce very nice papers. I mean, highly standard papers with good quality. Try to get those papers in the marking schemes. And also the support seminar papers, support seminar or the targeted papers which they make from the government. So you can get those with the marking schemes. I think in government websites like e-Taxalava, you can find those. So download those papers. Even if you don't take a printout, there's no problem. Download those papers and read the questions and the answers. Because even if you don't have time to do the entire thing, I'm not telling you not to do. Please, once in a while, do a paper timed because you need to practice timing. Because even this time, from the people who went to do A levels, what they said was, okay, they've studied a lot, but the problem was with timing. Although they knew the answer, they couldn't write it because they missed timing. Like some came and told that they couldn't write, like they had to skip an exact 17-mark question from their paper. So 17 marks is, it's gonna cost a lot, right, when it comes to results. So same way, don't let that happen to you. That's why I'm telling you to practice papers even if you haven't studied, right? That's why I'm telling let's get through from the past papers, because from the past papers you get the question pattern and everything like I told you. So please follow that step. And from the MCQs, just recall what you have to do. From the MCQs, you're going to do all the 40 MCQs timed, then do the analysis of each question as why it is correct, what is the correct answer, why it is correct, and why the others are wrong, and what are the other possible areas. Then from the textbook, read the summaries, go through the diagrams, go through the main headings and the subheadings, make little mind maps and bullet points. Then take the marking schemes. Get the marking schemes and read the marking schemes. Question and answer. Because then you get used to writing things to the point. Because what's in the marking scheme is what the examiners or the paper marking teachers expect from you. That means this is what they expect you to write. Right? That is what is there in the marking scheme. So when you study the marking scheme, you will actually write to the point, right? This is something which many people don't do. That means study the marking schemes. They like study marking schemes is just for marking their answers, just to check whether their answers are correct, and they just leave out the marking schemes. But just go through those marking schemes. Like read, you don't have to study, just read it. Because when you read it, you at least know this is important. And also highlight the areas which repeat and go through that. Next, I will tell you about the hour plan. I've told that I'm going to give a study plan, so let me give you that. Now that you know the place you are in, either you might be at an A already, or B, C, S, or W. Irrespective of where you are, you have to work for 6 hours. Wait, what? 6 hours. Yes, 6 hours. It's going to be 6 hours a week. Sorry, 6 hours a day. And the 6 hours is going to be 3 hours for you to practice your questions. Please now, okay, I'll go with the 1 hour first. 1 hour for you to do the paper. Right, this 1 hour you're going to do MCQs or questions. That means you're going to select some questions and do. So sometimes this 1 hour can extend to 2 hours if the paper is long. I mean, if you're doing a paper too, but I would just take it as 1 hour for now. Right, then 2 hours you invest these 2 hours for not trying papers, but to mark your answers. And to also, you can keep this time if you want to mark your answers in the third session. You can also postpone and keep these 2 hours for reading the marking schemes, reading the summaries, and doing that. So what are you going to do in the 1 hour session? You're going to do the papers. So sometimes if it extends, you can take a switch. That means in that period you can put the 2 hour work to 1 hour and 1 hour work to 2 hours. Only the days which you need more time for the papers, right? And for the 2 hour session, now I'm just saying generally the 2 hour session, what you have to do is you have to read the marking schemes, right? Read the marking schemes and read the summaries of the lessons and those diagrams and all that. The 3 hour session is the biggest mind game. So 3 hour session is what I told you about marking your answers and then doing those analysis. There you're going to study, not just go through. You're going to study what is in the marking scheme, study what is correct. And you are here focusing mainly on completing the first 3 papers. I mean, the 3 papers which you took from the latest years, 2018, 2019, and 2020. Right? So if you guys follow this method, I don't think that you will like feel time passing, because this 6 hours is quite enough for you to go like boost up your grade, because even if you're lost in this way, you can actually find yourself. So I think that's it. But still, one more thing I have to add, that is about the study environment and the study time, which is the biggest question. So first I'll tell you about study environment. Now, study environment doesn't mean that you have to stay in one place and study for 2/7. Study environment means basically an environment which is suitable for you. So some of you can be people who are working with music, or some of you can be good with silence, or some of you might not even care what's around and you can actually concentrate if you are so you're really gifted. So sometimes it depends according to the subject. Now, for an example, if you take math or subjects like math, I do math only when I have music, because otherwise I can't focus on it because I don't like math. To be frank, I really don't like that subject. So what I do is when I can listen to a perfect song. I mean, any song I want with the lyrics. So even watching, I'm not going to watch that, but even when it's being played, fully I can do the sounds. But when it comes to a subject like history or something which you need to memorize, at that point, if you when you hear the lyrics of another, you hear like someone's talking, at that time, that is not the time for you to overcome your loneliness. This is the time that you need to memorize. So when you have to memorize, when you're struggling to memorize something and you hear another person talking, in the end of the day your music ends up becoming your biggest distraction. So what you can do for this is actually you can take the karaoke versions. Karaoke versions means please not the karaoke version of the song you like. You can either take it from a different language which you don't understand, or it's not this entertainment type of music which you choose. Now, for my ideal, now I never listen to K drama. I mean, not K drama, I mean K pop. So I can go to an alternative of taking the karaoke version of the K pop song, because I don't know the song. I don't even know whether it's K pop or not. I just download it and listen because I just want the beat. That's it. So I highly prefer if you guys can use some sort of instrumental music or some natural music. That would be much better. And also, when working with the 6 hours, please don't work 6 hours at a stretch. Please don't do that. Break these 6 hour sessions. I mean, you need to have proper breaks, because you need to have proper sleep, because you have 1 month. Now, if I was doing this session or uploading this as a video, whatever, like 5 6 months back, I would say please take 3 months and don't sleep even. I would even say that, because have that is okay, like you have time to rest. Like what I mean is, don't keep work to the last time, I mean last moment. But now that you're in the last moment, please don't stress out, because if you don't sleep and if you break that cycle, that is something really important. I was about to forget it. So this is called the repetitive cycle. Like even in most of the universities, they've said in their reports, which I've studied and gone through, they said that most of the students who perform well in their academics are people who had a good sleep cycle and who had a constant routine. That means the time they study is fixed. That means it doesn't mean that every single day there are changes with the whatever's going on with health and family things and all that, whatever the events coming up. But still, like most of the time it's constant. Like if you are like a night person, I mean like a night owl, like most probably your study routine will start somewhere around 7 p.m, 7 or 10, whatever, and end up around 12 or 4. It depends upon the time you start. But my advice is, if you are not going to school and if you have less sessions to go, I mean, I believe that you have not packed yourself, because this is not the time for you to get everything to the head, but to, I mean, get everything to the head by others, but to self study. So limit your classes as well. Like just because they say this seminar, that seminar, don't run after if it is not important, right? So you can have, like, you can distribute these sessions. Now we have 3 parts of the day: morning, afternoon, evening, night. Okay, that's 4, but still you can just combine it in a way you want. uh if you can do the morning, say if you can do 3 hours in the morning, I mean if you're a morning person, you can do 3 hours in the morning. If you're a night person, you can do 3 hours in the night. Please break the myth that this early to bed, early to rise keeps a person healthy and wise. I don't believe in that statement at all, because that's something unique to a person. Like it's like if someone tells, okay, you're not going to study at night, you have to study every day at 4 a.m., that is typically abuse. That's abuse. Like I don't stand with that. I mean, that's really wrong. So don't worry that you can't get up in the morning and study at night. There's no problem. But there's a small problem, that you need to have a good sleep cycle. After your study session. But now there's a problem, that your exams are going to be in the morning, right? Now you have just 1 month, so you need to prepare yourself. So you being up every single day till your exams and then go to your exams and fall asleep is not going to work, right? So all your work is going to be wasted. So what you can ideally do is, first, until you catch up with your work, try to like make your session, that means try to go to bed at least at 12. The maximum you're going to stay up is 12, not more than that. 12 is it, that's it. Okay, so try to start your study sessions a little bit early. That means you can either study from 10 to 12. You can, there is 2 hours there. Then 3 hours, of course, you can get it in the afternoon time. That means the time like the intermediate period, because you guys are not going to school. Anyways, I mean somewhere around 11 to 2. And then in between you can take 1 hour. So like that you can make it according to your pace. You can adjust it with your classes and manage it. But please remember, if you are someone who gets stressed out and freaked out with simple things, you're not the person who's going to study for 6 hours, because in that what will happen is you will just end up doing nothing, right? So please break those time gaps, have gaps between. I mean, if you are going to study, okay, you if you feel like, okay, I'm going to study all 6 hours in the morning, then please have good gaps in between. That means at least half an hour breaks before each session. Be hydrated, that's another important thing. And finally, what I have to say is, don't panic. It's not that hard. Okay, it's not that hard. Follow these methods, and if you have any sort of a question, feel free to talk to me. Feel free to ask me. I will always help you guys out with that. And then with that fine thought, I will end up this session. Thank you so much for joining.